By the way, the word oduk, I want to thank Torah Anytime, Kav Hagishkocha Protius, and Kol Oloshin, and the Rabbeinu Shalom himself, for giving me the opportunity to be Mizakas at Rabin.
Still a prat while you didn't remember.
That's right. So, addictions. I'm addicted! It's scary! I'm addicted! You ever hear that? It's all over the place. By the way, everybody's addicted to something. Usually it's food. Food is I encourage. Go for it. Be addicted to food, but instead of food will be mighty, the problems. Let it be food. I heard that big people have said this vote that I say about food. I'm not alone. I know a Maisa with a Ger Chassid, he once came, he made a big spread of Kiddush, and he had food all over the place. And he said, you see the Elam was standing around schmoozing and no one's eating. So he got up and he, Rabbi Abed, get to work. He got all these schmaltz hatings all over the place with butt cake. Move! Anyway, you gotta eat. I once heard the Get It Up and said, you gotta eat until the buttons of your buttons are snapping. So I asked the Gerel Chassid, is that true? Your Rebbe said that? He says, I don't know if he said that, but that was the matziv. That's for sure. Eat. You want to be addicted? Go eat. Be addicted. All right, you may run into a problem. I once went to Gera I want to be a first grade Rebbe. There was a top Gera first grade Rebbe. Retired, a wonderful, lovely Yid. He's not around anymore. He should be a Lichtig Gan Eden. I went to see him in action. And a first grade Rebbe. And I saw these big, heavy kids coming in. Big, heavy, roly-poly boys. And I says, this is the fourth grade. I'm serious. This is the fourth grade. I got panicky because those days I never took a trip to New York unless it had to be. And I was going to something special. I didn't want to come for no reason. I came in for first graders and boom, we got the book. I want to see the first graders. So I went over to her in a nice way. He says, Entschuldigt, is this the fourth grade? He says, yes. But I mean, I'm talking about the 6-year-olds. I was wondering the way that works. And I mean, the 6-year-olds, yeah, these are the 6-year-olds. I sat back. Sure enough, half the kids had notes from home. Chaim is working on his diet. We hope we're going to get somewhere. One after another. That was the mitzvah notes. He's working on the diet, whatever. It was very, anyway, they say he gave a bracha, Ramatcha gave a bracha, that the gerus should be. And I once went to Yerushalayim. I saw a bunch of gerus standing there, heavy all around. I said, who are these Kanainar? I said, that's the Rebbe's bracha. Because in Poland, they were short little, in Poland they believed the heavier, the taller, the better. Everybody there was tiny and small, all Galinskis all over the place. Galinsky was a little more than usual. But they're all the Yamaliga Polish Yidden, they were tiny. You don't eat. Nothing. So he gave anyway. Now people have come to me with addictions. Now the latest one, I'm for sure I've had much more. But just very recently, serious addiction. I spoke to the guy, the parents were crying on the phone. Sugar, addicted. He's looking at, you don't want to talk about. And he's going, the parents are up crying like, what's going to be with our child? I said, let me speak to him. I spoke to him. I says, what's going to be? He says, I tried 100 times. It's impossible. Because I first do not believe in the addictions. I don't believe in that whole, it's addicted. What do you mean addicted? It's because you're doing it 100 times so you can't stop. Mechatesa. The first thing is, I am kaifa in the whole concept of addiction. Because 3 weeks later, as far as I know, he is cured. Whatever I did there, the kid is cured. The mother's going out of a kalim with simcha. I had another addicted guy, one of the worst addictions in the world. He was used to come home, shikha with his drugs, scaring the daylights out of his wife. He was an animal. And I did similar. I'll tell you in a nutshell. You praise the guy till Shemayim. That was the yikah. In both these cases, the guy had to turn around like no one's business. He didn't have to go to the boot camp. There was no suffix. There's no way out. Except the boot camp. He never went to the boot camp. And he went to a local Rav to hold him in line. And he dropped all these. It was unbelievable. For a year and a half. He had Yeshua's Gemuras. After a year and a half, is another shmuz. But addictions, this kid was off the addictions. No, this guy was a lifetime of. The problem there was sometimes you need a second round, and you need a second round of tefillah. I once had a Maisa. 2 rounds, a girl was in the streets. The father told me about it. My daughter's depressed. She doesn't get up in the morning. She's not from. She's not this. She's not worth a penny. I says, getting together, the family, all the married siblings are going to get together and talk great things about her and say a few kapetlach, and I give you a guarantee. Called me after 1 week, shvach. They did it 2 weeks. The second week, she got up, a new person. She got on the telephone with a very famous Chassidish Rebbe who was Makarova. Today she's married. It's a different world. They needed 2 rounds. That's the only reason I mention that, because I've done this many times. It's magic. You talk positive things about the person, and it's about grace Azach. Now, recently, it's kedai to mention it. I have this campaign against addiction. So, Moshe, I have a campaign against bipolar, bishmola, OCDs, all these stigmas, all these shteplach, they kill you. He has OCD. Forget it. He's finished. Bipolar, that's hopeless. That's ADHD, So as soon as you get yourself a stamp, you're dead. So I'm against all these stamps. I laugh at them. I once told somebody on the telephone, he is an official self-acclaimed Meshuggah, and he kept proving it to me on the phone, how nutty he was, saying weird things. And he says, how long are you carrying on like this? The family got him to speak to me because they once had a Yeshua with me, so they thought I can do anything. I can straighten out this Meshuggah. He called me up, not from Lakewood, and he called me up every single day. He had, the one thing for sure, he had OCD. He called me 10 times a day, literally, every single day for a month. And I answered him. I got around to answering him. And I brainwashed him through and through. My dear friend, I know better than all those doctors that told you that you are nutcase. I don't know what labels they gave him, but I see a normal person in front of me. I'm sorry. I never saw him in my life. I smell it through the telephone. I know right through the telephone wires. You are a normal person. You're making an act. You're living into the stempel they gave you. You have to live up to that stempel. From the day I decided that I have ADHD, I can never stay in one spot for more than 5 minutes because I have to live up to my stempel. You don't even chop what that stempel does to you. If someone can get a hold of you and scream at you, you don't have it, you watch what happens. Suddenly, hey, everything's changed. Your stempel kills you. No negative stemplach. Once you get a stempel, you're finished. And one of my first experiences was a friend of mine who's a big family with a sister who had OCD. The sister, a married woman, the sister said herself, I am as nutty as they come. The sister admitted she takes her kids and steel wools them every morning to get with easy off. No, not that I didn't hear. But the steel wool, that I heard. If any of them steps on ketchup, she sends them straight to the mikveh. Or who knows whose ketchup that was as a coach. And she said herself, I'm nutty. I don't know what's with me. I have OCD. I spoke to the brother. A few brothers there that I was friendly with. The family held that I wasn't 100%. I kept saying, this is my earlier years, but Dylan didn't know my greatness yet. So I said, no OCD. And every time I said it, I did it for a year. whenever I met the brother in the street, your sister, they laughed at me. I wasn't laughing. You could laugh. I'm not laughing. You don't believe in the Rebbe? You don't need to, but as long as the Rebbe believes in the Rebbe, then the Rebbe's going to work. And I kept saying no OCD. After a year, they all told me 80% of the OCD was gone. And no pills, no doctors, no mices. She went through all that already. That's how she got sick in the first place. As soon as she did something a little funny, they said OCD, and she thought, oh, since I have OCD, I have to be even more cuckoo. So you have to live up. I'm not loved up. I can't always, but that happens very often. Once they give you a stempel, it gets worse. Kid said, then you need pills, and pills aren't working. Let's try this, let's try that. She had OCD within a year. 80% was gone. I remember distinctly. The brother, Shitaka, yeah, Shitaka lost. Shitaka changed. Shitaka OCD, yeah. What about my brachas? Let's have a check for this, my services. No, it was really, people do. Well, yeah, she was really okay, You ever hear that? Rabbi Lynch used to tell me that the saying of bטחון is, after you get the Yeshua, the Yetzirah gets you on the rebound. Well, it wasn't really that bad. I remember distinctly. I was on a plane going to Yehupitz. I want to say, kids said, we went along. There was a couple from Lakewood, and they took along a little boy with them. It's a husband, wife, and a little kid. The kid was sugar. Nice people. And the lady comes over to me, starts crying. My son has boom, boom, boom. And I was fresh out of Novhardok those days. I said, no, he does not. And no. He's cured. 2 months later, he was cured. They were going for a special trip to Yehupitz to see a special psychologist to take care of his. What did he have? He's saying about him, he gets on the plane, we're on the plane, and he wants to scream and wreck the whole place. Whatever. He was not well. And I made a joke out of it. I remember that case distinctly where in 2 months, the lady called me like I was the Gadol Hador. A year later, he really didn't have an issue. That's what the lady said. He really didn't have an issue. And I got a hold of her husband. I says, do you remember the situation? Yeah, I remember distinctly. In 2 months after we met you, we had a refuah shalema. Because we felt like the whole thing. So at least he remembered. But she was already flying all over. Like, it wasn't. That's how people lose their bטחון. They have to write down how serious it was and how terrible it was, and write down how it turned around. Or else, and a year from now, you're going to make the Yitzhar is going to make up a Baba Maisa that it wasn't really so bad. Anyway, the bטחון very often makes it l'mafreya not so bad. You know that? Very often. Maybe still likes to be malabish things in Teva. But let me tell you, yeah. Now these addictions, the addiction business. I'm at a war with the whole business. Bipolar, I just met him again. Now I keep bumping into him. I look at him because most people I never see. It's a telephone guy. I give him a bracha, and the next day I just heard Nisim Gulim. I'm amazed myself. I didn't know it was so much of a Balmavis. Now, this fellow, I saw him, and he used to go around with a cigarette, shaking visibly. Rabbi Mendel, yes, can you help me? And the guy used to get up 2 o'clock every afternoon. We hope he put on film, He didn't learn, he didn't work, it was nobody home. Chain smoker, I don't know what else he did. He had bipolar, he had terrible fears. I says, I'm going to cure you. Call me up every other day for 2 minutes. I don't have time for more than that. I'm going to give you a stock of bracha and it's going to work. I'm going to turn you around like you, better than you ever were since the day you were born. That's what I told him. A year later, he told me, Rabbi Mendel, that's exactly what happened. And I see him Keseda. He sits and learns Basmada. He's calm. He's calmer than all of us. He's a different Bria. I just told me, did you ever look like this? He said, no, not since the day I was born. I was always born cuckoo. So the last 5 years I really got cuckoo, but this I never was. But since that year went by the way, I will mention something, even though he felt better every time. And I asked him what worked more, my encouragement or my bracha. He said both, but the bracha was even more. But one thing he did tell me, that at the very end of that year, he walked into a base medrash and he opened up the Aron Kodesh. It was dark, and he cried for half an hour to the Eibishter about his whole tzoros. He walked out. Panav lo yirah, like it says by Chana. He was cured. No more. Shtel's afar. You see him, ruyi. But bipolar, bipolar. And he had it. Every doctor said it. You don't need a doctor. Look at the guy. He is not a normal functioning person. By far. You don't need no doctors. And today, look at him. He goes around, ruyi. Rabbi Mendel, he used to come over to me like, anyway. This other guy I had on the phone, not from here. And him I told 100 times, you are normal. But I'm not case. Yeah, that's what you say. I know the truth. I'm a much bigger. I have Ruach HaKodesh, first of all. You know what I did Erev Shabbos by side? I walked into the by the mikveh. I was giving out b'tachon weeklies, and there's a big packed house over there by the, before you go into the mikveh, there's where you pay over there. And I said in front of everybody, I want to make it official. I am about Ruach HaKodesh. That's official. They all started laughing. I says, make it official. I'm about Ruach HaKodesh. Any problems? They all started laughing. Listen, it's kedai to be, for that alone, to make it Levitic. I got so many smiles I got from that one. So, now, do they think I'm normal? Do they believe me? Do they not believe me? Well, of course, right after I said that, they started rushing over to me with names. Should you tell them please for this? I'm joking. They rather do that, but shame. You did that without my announcement. So they come to me, but I made the announcement. Rather, I did add, Rapam Zatzal said that every year there's Ruach HaKodesh. Show us how much. That's Rapam said it. So, I'm okay. You want to call me a Malgaivanik? I say, no, I'm not a Malgaivanik. I hold everyone else is just like me. Ice Gaiva. And I also give Hashem credit for making me a Zabal Meifis. So Vaita, no Gaiva. So I'm not, so I can blow myself up and I'm still not a Malgaivanik. And I recommend that. In fact, I'm a bigger honor than everyone else because I'm so in awe of the greatness Hashem did for me. I'm a big honor. A guy that thinks he's nobody and he's in awe, he's not in awe of Hashem. You know what he thinks of Hashem? It's enough you had to mess me up. He's not a happy customer. You messed me up. You see, all these guys are better in learning. All the guys are normal. I'm cuckoo. And now I'm supposed to be thank you. That's not for me. The thank you, Rabbi Miller's thank you business. I'm from the Kvetchy guys. Somebody quoted me. I don't remember saying it, but he quoted me saying, Rabbi Mendel said one of his best fetlach is, without the Eibishter, you couldn't even kvetch. Imagine how thankful you have to be. He couldn't even, I don't remember saying it, but they quoted me. Shay, if it's a good joke, why not? Anyway, so this guy from Adam, Lakewood, he's from New York. Well, he's on the phone with me, and I hopped him every time I got on the phone with him. You are not a nutcase. I heard you say what you just said now. Only normal people speak like that. And I know, I'm experienced. I know who normal people are. And I did every time I got on the phone with him. And it kicked in. It really kicked in. And the guy made a special trip from New York to visit me, to show me, here I am. You straightened me out. And the guy was crazy from birth. From birth. Ice Meshugana. It's all in your cup. I have someone right now that is so brainwashed that he's nutty. It's a job, but I'm just going to give brachas from far. I don't want to get too close. Some people are so stressed. I meet a lot of people like that. I just recently told people, stop learning Sha'ar B'tachon. Every time you learn Sha'ar B'tachon, we have to have B'tachon. It's got to work. Let's have B'tachon, then let's straighten this out. Now, all your stress comes from your Seder and B'tachon. By the way, don't worry about it. It'll work even if you do that. These people, it's not working. But otherwise, I'm also sometimes, so it's going to work. Hashem is so full of rachamim. You can do all the wrong things and you'll have yeshuas anyway. Tata and Shemayim loves us. But this family is so stressed that even after I tell them, don't forget it, you're not rachayim for it, there's nobody home. Eat ice cream! Close that Sha'ar B'tachon. Your B'tachon is ice cream. Because Sha'ar B'tachon is making ice cream. Go rowing. Husband and wife play checkers. Be happy. Bug off. It's not your problem. Get it out of your head. Somebody here did that. He had Nisim Galoyim. Listen to me. That's called B'tachon. Nisim Galoyim, this younger man had. A tzaddik younger man. He did just that. We're chilling out. Chill. Our Sha'ar B'tachon is chill. Not everybody is ready to go learning, but you have to learn Sha'ar B'tachon. Anyway, but gemacht, I mentioned Amal Be'ez Hashem. So anyway, the Eibusher rewarded me because I'm always screaming, I don't believe in addictions. I'm at a war. I cured bipolar. I cured OCDs. I cured a type of Meshugana. What not? What's incurable? You have a Tata Shemayim, Hashem Yerachim. A Himmelsgeshe. You know what the Alter from the Novandik says? You say, I'm not right. The real truth is, you don't have B'tachon. That's the problem. You're making a whole frum thing out of it. You're not right. It's not negay if you're right, you're not. But I heard from one of my Rabbeim, the biggest Baal B'tachon in the world is the Rasha. Because he's not B'teach. And the other guy who's a Baal B'tachon, he's B'teach in his Shas, he's B'teach in his Sitkis, he's B'teach in his Kedusha, he's B'teach in his Matzahs. I mean, it's not the Eibusher. But the Rasha is the best Baal B'tachon. It's none of his mitzvahs, it's the Eibusher. You don't have to have any schusim for this stuff. And through all the Ein Hara business, it's baloney. You get whatever you want, just have B'tachon. Anyway, where am I up to? This younger man. So this younger man. I'm against addictions. Shame. Right after I made a whole big thing on it, I don't believe in addictions. Somebody comes, makes a special trip from Yehupitz to see me. He sits down. Right there he was sitting. And he says, I never met the guy. Rabbi Mendel, I have been severely addicted all my life to one of the worst addictions. They say it's worse than everything and anything. And I davened for years, for 3 years. I'll tell you what it is. I'm allowed to say. Kedusha, he had no idea. And he said, I davened for years. What's Kedusha? What's it all about? Kedusha. And I kept davening. Vayihayam Shabbos Kodesh. I felt like a new person. Kedusha of Shabbos. I felt something came to me from Shemayim. Itasanta Maisa. And for the last 3 years, since that happened, I am clean from all my addictions and all my problems. And Shabbos by me is Gan Eden. So there it is. You keep saying something, Hashem rewards you. When you keep saying, I don't believe in addictions, Hashem sends you somebody from nowhere and says, he didn't even know what I was talking about day and night. I don't believe in addictions. He's dumb. He came from nowhere. He needed a bracha for something. I gave him a bracha, whatever, and he tells me firsthand, a lifetime of addictions, and he licked it. Don't believe in addictions. We're going to war. Addictions is one addiction. I'm addicted in my love to the Eibishter. Whether you feel it or not is not Negeya. That's official. We are all addicted in loving the Rabbeinu Shalom. Now Rabbi say, I'm going to tell you, but by the way, you keep saying all day and all night, you talk about sicknesses. That's all you like to talk about? Guess what happens after a while? Oh, hello, by the way, guess what just happened? You don't talk negative, you talk about busting addictions, about loving the Abish, talk happy stuff, and one day it comes to you, and you get what you're into, that's what you get. And don't be nispo. You may do the worst, the biggest kaisen in the world. Don't fall for that. I know of a certain family, a big time kaisanim. They're known. They're very sensitive. It's a very sensitive. Don't you dare step on his toes. He's going to get all upset. And they have all different kind of a tatum. They're allowed to do things on Tisha B'Av that no one else is allowed to because we are sensitive people. And it's a brachon. And we need shayt. So, because I don't want to go into details about the family, but one of the descendants of that family told me, you know my family. Well, I have a Zayd or an uncle, whatever it was, who decided, I'm getting rid of this. I'm not going to be part of the family. And he decided he's going to wipe out Kas from his system. And he made Knossos and Knossos and Knossos, and Kas disappeared. If I'm not mistaken, I remember who it was. It was the sweetest from that same family, that everybody there was a bundle of nerves, sensitive kaisanim. And he was just the opposite, because he went to war and he conquered it. Now look, he became just the opposite. Not everybody's capable of doing any of these things. No, you just, the violet, you're happy with exactly the way it is. And don't put yourself down. I don't care what you're doing. The worst chet is putting yourself down. Don't you dare do that. The main battle of this door is don't put yourself down. I spoke to a big expert. They said Reb Chaim Epstein raved over this person in these different yonim that Bachar himself are from. He's supposed to be a super expert. And I said, tell me about, he says, the reason that's not, the guy's not about Taivanik. He's lacking self-esteem. Something else going on. Self-esteem, hold from yourself. With Mesiras Nevesh! Like in Slobodki, he did the worst chait, and nothing happened. I heard it happen in Novandig. I know who it was too. On Yom Kippur, he blew a stack in front of the whole yeshiva, and he ran after the cook in the street. By them, you never know. It might have been a prat. And he made a fool out of himself with his face flying, his beard, and he was one of the big, and suddenly he acted, and he went down, back to Daven, like nothing happened. It was not a bad thing. What did I just do? No, on Yom Kippur, go down. Nothing happened. That's the way you treat your Averis. You think, you know what I just did? Is it going to change you? Go for it. It's not, usually. It's the Yetzer Hara magnifying your evil. Do you know you davened this morning? Did you magnify your chakras? Did you magnify your Ratzin to finish Shas? That Ratzin's a joke. You know what a Ratzin is in Shemayim? The wanting to be better, you know what that's worth? David HaMelech, Mr. Shechanukas Abayis the David. David HaMelech wanted to build a Beis HaMikdash. Nikral Shemayim. You know what that is? He wasn't allowed to build it. And he's the one. You want something? It's yours. And don't, just because you're not getting covered, and the whole world's not raving over you, you don't have that good feeling that I finished so much blood. So what? You have the good feeling that you want to be good. Okay, now. I'm going to tell you half of the Meiser. You want to hear my latest Meifus? Before I say this, my Meifus comes first. My wife has come to just got the phone today. You ready for this one? You're not going to believe me. I'd like to have the details. Okay, first of all, this 52-year-old guy calls me up. And a 62-year-old Rebbitzin, sweet like sugar. Super nice people. She's older than him. Right? Can't talk. She lost her voice with a viral infection, seriously scary like anything. I said, don't scare me with viral schmiral. Your wife is perfect. 1 week later, I get a phone call, puts his wife on the phone, and she's talking like nothing happened. Come on. 1 week. That's one of my small mifsim. That's from the little ones. But I did tell them, it could be I told them, sometimes I tell them to work on it. It's preferable if you work on it so you can get credit. You don't have to give me all the credit for my bracha. But now I'll tell you another one. I got this from Eretz Yisrael. Oh boy, this is a winner. I mean, but the age to anything. I'm not nispo from anything. I don't care what it is. This lady got on the phone and described to me, forget it. I don't even remember the details. What, bipolar, bipolar, dangerous. I think the guy was dangerous. The guy was, they want to put him in jail. I don't remember the details. It was like the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. Impossible. It's going on for years. There's no hope. There's no this. There's no that. Blah, blah, blah. And I said, he's perfect. 24 hours later, he was discharged from the insane asylum that he was in. Did you hear that? I got the call today. The friend told me, by the way, your Mifus. Right after I said it, Mifus, how do you like that one? No? All right, you can do the same thing. You think I knew it's going to help? I was sure it wasn't. When I gave that bracha, I says, he told me on the phone that I had 2 cases very recently of the doctor already called the family. The doctor called the family. That means it's over. 2 such cases. In both cases, I said, they call Mendel. You know what they do? Minig Yisrael is, just before you say vidoy, they're putting it into all the new vidoy things. Before you say vidoy, call Mendel. That became like, why'd you call me earlier? Call Mendel before you say vidoy. Because I had 2 such cases. The doctor called everybody and it says, Danish can come. One was Erev Shabbos, Motzei Shabbos, they called me back. Situation improved. I had 2 such cases recently. I lost it up. I'm just not impressed. What I feel in my heart, don't ask. But I'm not getting involved. You know what the belt says? Oh, you have a hergish? No, sit zayin akim. You have a hergish. Who cares what your hergish is? You have a hergish. You feel it, you don't feel it. Don't bother me. I speak positive, no matter what. Whether I mean it, I don't mean it, party line. I am totally positive. Rabbi Nothen used to say, when wrong, scream loudest. The other way. But I'm right. If you know you're wrong, then screaming louder the other way. So I do that too. The more I think it's, Mendel, this one's really too much, I say, no, this is gewaldig, Anyway. I'm going to tell you now a story. What happened before David HaMelech was lifted. It's last week's Haftarah. The Haftarah is so sweet, it's so beautiful, there's nothing like it. You made David Lamas, he was about to be nifta. And he called Shleim Allah, he was 12 years old, Shleim HaMelech. Shleim Allah, come here, I'm going to tell you a thing or two. You should be an El Yid, then everything will go well for you. The first thing he said to him is, V'chazakta v'yiso le'ish. Be a man, Shleim Allah. Be a man. You hear that? The first thing. Say a mensch. Then he tells him, then he says, okay, now you know what Yoya ben Tzruya did to me. He tricked 2 tzaddikim and he killed them. Don't let that man die a normal death. Take care of him. 2, Barzilai Galadi, when I was in trouble running from Avshalom. I just have a aura. If anybody could answer me. Hushai Ha'arki was the one that's mentioned in Tanakh. That was the only friend of David that came to his aid, and he spied for David. And he tricked Avshalom, and that's how they won the war. I don't know why Hushai Ha'arki is not mentioned, but he had no friends. Everybody abandoned David. By the way, Musa Aleph. You have no friends? You got good company. David HaMelech. Because all his friends were against him. And he said, Barzilai Galadi he was my friend. Do chesed. All his descendants will eat at your table. Because he was nice to me. He gave me to eat whatever when I was in trouble. You're giving him back. Now I have a catch on that story. The third one was, and you got to kill Shimon ben Gera. Okay. Shimon ben Gera threw rocks at David. Shimon ben Gera called David a mamza. Hear that? Isn't that nice? He called him a mamza. He called him a tayeva. He called him a nayev. He called him a reitzayach, And he was a Rosh Sanhedrin. Shimon ben Gera was Mordechai Zayda. Now David didn't kill him. That's why Mordechai is called Yehudi. Because if David came with Yehuda and he saved Shimon ben Gera, and therefore Mordechai was born. The whole Purim story, thanks Ish Yehudi, that's thanks to David who didn't kill Shimon ben Gera, because David was working on his midos. And when he saw Naphtali Amsterdam, he said, Shimon ben Gera throwing rocks at me. I'm running for my life. I'm barefoot. I have ashes on my whatever. The matzah with Shrek, like my own son. The whole Klal Yisrael's against me. I'm crying. I'm going, Meshuggah. There's no one here. They're all against. And here he comes, a Rosh Sanhedrin from Sheva Binyamin. And he comes at me with such a venom. Say, Ish Hadomim, you man of blood. Hashem gave you what you deserve, you Russia. You know what he called David? Klala Nimretzes. You know what that means? Noyif. Mamza. You know how to give him. There's a Rosh Sanhedrin talking. You know what a Rosh Sanhedrin is? That's the biggest, the Hakol Afiyam Avayish Ramas Bayish. Did he do a job? And David HaMelech said, don't touch that man. And Yoav ben Tzruya, Avishai was the one actually. David's nephew said, I'll chop his head off. I'll kill that dead dog right now. How dare he talk like that? David said, don't you dare do that. Hashem told him to do that. Some say, the Metzudah says that a Rosh Sanhedrin should act like this. It's the Eibishter. Some say that. But I don't know. Generally, whatever it was. He was Chaim Misa anyway, and David wouldn't do it. Say to Bali Musa, Tali Amsterdam, if I'm not mistaken. If I hate the guy too much, I'm dafka not doing it. I can't, it's not for me. David HaMelech was always fighting his Yetzer Hara. I'm going the opposite. No, I'm not killing him. You're supposed to, yeah. Working on my midos comes first. Now, I'm not getting involved in halacha l'maisa. But it is a halacha l'maisa. The Alma Salmantka brings down. If you have a friend and an enemy, you have a shayla what to do, even al pi halacha tzar bal chaim deraisa. And therefore, Prika is a bigger mitzvah than Tina. To unload an animal has a double mitzvah. Helping a friend and help the animal, alleviating the animal of his bundle. That's a bigger mitzvah. You're supposed to help your friend. But this guy's your enemy. And he wants to load on. There's only one mitzvah. There's no tzar bal chaim issue. You help your enemy. Gemara B'Metzia. Why? Today, lokav as Yisrael. It's a din. Breaking Yitzhar is halacha. It goes in, to go, you have to know when. You need a rabbi. You have to know what you're doing. Going against your bad midos is number one in your life. Do the thing you don't want to do. Don't talk with halacha. Well, I can't really do that. I can do it. It's breaking my midos. That's the number one in my life. Whatever. So what happened? So he did not kill Shimon ben Gera. And when he did not kill Shimon ben Gera, he became the fourth regal Revi of the Merkava. The greatest thing he ever did in his life. And he's going to end off this parsha with, make sure don't let Shimon ben Gera go out alive. It's the last words that David HaMelech said in his life. Al tanakeu, ki yesh chacham ata, shleim ala, I know you're smart. You hear the way he talks? I know you're a smart boy. You hear the way you talk to a son? You're smart. This has to be framed in all the yeshivas. I know you're a smart boy, Shleimallah. I think it's before Shleimallah had the dream. No? Maybe that's why he was actually, Shleimallah, you'll know what to do. Isn't that beautiful? Say it to yourself! Before you tell your son. Or else you'll end up, I know a young man told me, I had a hard youth. My parents killed me. My father, my mother, they bombarded me. I walk around like a bundle of nerves. So, at least my kids. I want to save my children. So you know what happened to this guy? His children gobble him and his wife up, and they attack them. They attack them. I was called to the rescue more than once. The mother was being kicked by her 5-year-old. And because the kids, the kids go first. No kids first. First, call yourself a chacham. Then we'll deal with your kid next. Anyway, the last words of David HaMelech was Shimon ben Gera. I wanted to say a pshat, because the greatest thing he ever did was Shimon ben Gera, not killing him. And now he's killing him because it's not me. No more negia, I'm gone, you'll do the job. And that's the stempel of his life. The greatest thing, he became regular via Malkava by breaking his midos. He was a Novandig, the Novandig men are this story. And that's why you end up your life as a zecher, the midas. This is the greatest thing I ever did. That's why he ends up with that. Here's the last word that David says in the pasuk. Baradata esevosai b'dom shoyel. Make sure the man kill him. Make sure he dies. You're smart. You'll know how to do it. Vayishkav David ha'maboisav. Isn't that it? The last thing you say in your life is, remember that time I broke my midos? And instead of hating my father-in-law, I told my wife, I'm so happy to have your father as my father-in-law. He is so sweet and so good and so lovely. And I lied through my teeth. That was the greatest thing I ever did in my life. Now you could leave the world. You want to know what the greatest thing a person can do with his life? Break those midos and start loving yourself. You ever hear of self-hatred? You ever hear that? The Jews? You ever hear those self-hating Jews? The New York Times? You ever hear them? Jews that are always knocking Jews. There's a certain geschmack in self-persecution. There's a certain geschmack in putting yourself down. We have it too. Watch out! I am the most chashuv guy in Gans Lakewood. I passed him a long time ago. Now the whole world's already, they know me. I'll tell you what's happened to me. I got myself a very chashuv Adam. And as soon as that happened, the Rav in Lakewood told me, ooh, I see even the regular Malamed can get himself chashuv Adam. I told him, what do you mean I'm a regular Malamed? He says, I think I'm quite chashuv myself. It's a true story. I told it to the Rav. So the Rav says, no. I mean, but the Yolam doesn't know yet. So I says, what do you mean the Yolam doesn't know? I think the whole Yolam knows about me already. Yeah, I checked out Novandig. What do you think of my joke? They loved it! Novandig gave me, Rabbi Isa said, that was good. That's the way you tell them. So even Novandig holds. Make those jokes, what do you care? Yes, I am a great guy. So it's Eis Lasis Lashem. Chayecha Kaidman, before you build up your kids, build me up. And go to war against all those negative thoughts that are killing you 24/7. There's so many of them. Many of them are subconscious. You go to war, build yourself up day and night. The more they knock you, the more you go the other way. Anyway, I'm going to tell you one zach over here. It's half full of a fella. We have here Barzilai Agilodi. Him you gotta be nice to. You want to know who he was? I have decided I am not going to print this. Barabam, I'm not even going to say it Barabam properly. Maybe I will. I already learned how to get away from it. I don't want to say what Barzilai Galadi used to do. He was not simple. We have no right to talk about people of those days, but Barzilai Galadi had serious baggage in his life. I don't want to talk about it. But he had serious baggage. If he'd be around today, All the mommies would tell the kids, keep away from him. And David HaMelech says, I want Barzillai to be at your table forever after. Barzillai, I don't want to say what. It's a Gemara in Shabbos. You want to look it up? But I'm not saying it Barabim. I don't think it's Kedai. I don't remember, but it's not hard to get. I'll get it for you. You'll see, I'll see what it is. I'll say anything, but Barabim, you gotta watch what they're saying. They're gonna be makel and different things. Chas v'sholom, you know. I don't want to say it. Because David HaMelech, he told Shlomo Allah, Barzillai forever after. His whole family are gonna eat at the king's table. You know what that is? What happened to this? Barzillai did things that are seriously wrong. It was very bad, not stum. How do you make him? You want to hear the book? You know what Malchus is? You know what a Melech is? A Melech has the ability to overlook the worst chesroinus and focus on the Mila when it's appropriate. He has the ability. I didn't see it. He's a great guy. And you know what else he did this? Shaul HaMelech is hunting him, and he keeps saying, Shiach Hashem. He threw a spear at him 3 times. He hunted him. Chazal say, David had 8 enemies. Sheva ben Bichri. Who were his enemies? Avner, Avshalom. Oh, he had enemies. Doig, Achiseifel, Shim ben Geda. He had them all. He was enemies wherever he turned. Another one. So in Chazal, and all dangerous people, tough people, Achiseifel, who was David afraid of him? He said he had a daven day and night that Avshalom shouldn't listen to Achiseifel. He knew I'm going to lose the war. Anybody asked Achiseifel and Eitzah, it's like he asked Urim B'tumim. It's like going straight to the Eibishter. You're going to get, he won the war. You don't stand a chance. And by the way, Achiseifel told Avshalom, you're afraid to kill your father? I'll do the job myself. I'll go up there right now and kill him with my bare hands. That's, by the way, David's old friend. They were chavrusas. You know that? Achiseifel and David were best friends. And Achiseifel knew all David's secrets. That's why David was afraid of him. Because he knew David like a book. And David was scared stiff. And Achiseifel joined Avshalom, his son, to rebel against his father. So he found Achiseifel, no. He's on the other side. I lost the war, so he davened day and night. Hafer Zaz Achiseifel Hashem. Hafer Zaz, he davened day and night. Don't let them listen to Achiseifel. Okay, anyway. He had so much tzaras, so much enemies. So in Chazal, the worst enemy by far was Shaul. His father-in-law. I don't know. You want anybody trouble with father-in-laws? Let's take a look at the history. Open up the stories of David HaMelech with his shver. Did your father ever take a spear and go aim at you? Did that ever happen? No? What are you kvetching about? You want to know what a father can do? 3 times! 3 times he threw a spear at him. You know what else he did? He hunted him down. Every move David make will kill him. When Ben Yishai will, and Shaul was not pushed. He was after David to kill him. All his life, David suffered until David went to enemy territory. You know what that means? You know the story of David and Goliath where he took a stone and he killed a giant? That country hated David like nobody. That was a Plishtim. He ran to the Plishtim. Even that was better than Shaul HaMelech. Cutting you. To the Goyim he's going. Shaul was a Pachanoida. And so, how did he get into Shaul HaMelech? What? Mashiach Hashem! Mashiach Hashem! He cried at his Levaya, Mashiach Hashem! And he said to Shaul, he said, you're the Mashiach Hashem. I'm shaking from you. I'm in awe of you. Mashiach Hashem. Mashiach Hashem. What do you mean Mashiach Hashem? He's a Raidif! What do you mean Mashiach Hashem? You serious? Mashiach Hashem. He's a Raidif, a mitzvah to kill. Mitzvah lahashkim al-hargai. Before halacha. Don't be a chassid mitamo. He's Mashiach Hashem. He's killing you. How do you get it? It's a pella. But he did not see all the evil. So was depressed, whatever that means. Shaul was this, he was angry and depressed and thinking of coming and doing things that made no sense, and he does not look good in Tanakh big time. Shaul looks very bad in Tanakh. Schrecklich. It's a pella that, but we all know he was a tzaddik. He killed Neiver Kayanim. 85 tzaddikim gemurim. He killed the entire, plus the Kayin Gadol, a Malach Alikim, and he was wrong for doing it. 80 killed out a whole city. Shaul HaMelech, he had baggage like nobody else. And David, Mashiach Hashem. Mashiach Hashem. Come on. I don't understand it. But one thing I do have from it, there's a time and place to overlook. I don't care what this guy did. I know that Mila, and that's staying. And that's all I see. That's all I know. I'm not interested. And Shaul HaMelech Slavaya, David cried. And he said a beautiful hesped. He remembered when Shaul HaMelech was a young bacharo, and when Goliath Plishti, they had conquered. They captured the Aron Kodesh, and Goliath Plishti took out the luchos. Goliath was a giant, and Shaul HaMelech came flying out of Eretz Yisrael like a deer. Minasharim Kalu, like an eagle, came flying into Plishti country and grabbed the luchos out of Goliath's hand. Goliath Plishti, people were terrified of him, and he ran back with it, and he recaptured the luchos. Shaul HaMelech. David mentioned that in his Levaya. Shaul HaMelech, who is as big as you are, our great beloved. Beloved. How do you like this beloved business? Shaul HaMelech, my beloved, what's going on? Don't think I understand what's going on here, but I want to tell you one zach. The power, just like with Barzillai Agiladi, I only know Barzillai was there for me when I was running for my life. I don't care what he did. Barzillai is a good man forever. Shaul is Gevaldik. And by the way, David wasn't far from wrong. Klal Yisrael, they lost 100,000 people because they were in Maspid Shaul Kalacha. What happened? They had a whole famine, a whole shekel, because they didn't give him a big enough estimate. David knew what he was talking about when, despite everything, Shaul. So listen, Rabbi Isai, the people around us, the difference between a melech and a regular person is, a regular person, you see one thing wrong with that guy. Did you ever see the way he davens? His learning's not worth nothing. You ever see the way he learns? You ever see the way he treats his wife? Abgefragt. You saw him blow a stack? Kaiser, get lost. Yeah, I once saw this guy. He was a little bit nuts. So I was reading something. We frag up people left and right. This guy's puzzled. This guy's no good. This guy's... We do it to ourselves. I'm abgefragt. You know what I've been doing lately? Where I'm making brachas lately. You're not your Shemayim. Cut it out. You blew it. Stop it. Stop trying to fool yourself, fool the world. Face reality. That's your Shemayim. You think you're a big Ben Torah. Oh, Baal Musa. Oichma Baal Musa. What's the new modern day Baal Musa? You can do a thing like that. Say goodbye. Oh, you see the sheet. That's called a Chassid Shahid. I knew it. Who was a Chassid Shahid? Who had certain issues. And he knocked himself way too much. I didn't like it. And it didn't help him. And he once said he's ashamed to say he's a chassid from a very chashav chassidus. He says, I'm ashamed to say I'm one of them. I disagreed with him big time. You have to go to war against that garbage. Never, ever, ever put yourself down. Never! No way you're going to give yourself a stempel like an OCD and you're dead. I got OCD. It's over. I have ADHD like me. Ever since I got that stempel, have you ever noticed, you see I'm always walking around? How'd that happen? I wasn't born like that. Once someone told me that's OCD. Oh, that means I got to be like that. Okay. Let's stick to the rules. You have to act a little... I'm nervous. Somebody once told me you're impatient. I heard that stempel for the rest of my life. A guy says, you're not a happy guy. For the rest of my life, I'm always frowning. Got that stempel. You're not. I'm going to say I'm not a lamdan. Anything you ever heard. Now, if you heard nice things about yourself, it doesn't stick. It doesn't stick. You have to go to Milchama. Chamal Hashem ba'amalek midar dar. It's Amalek that wants to pull you down. I am everything. What do you mean? I'm the happiest guy that ever lived. I'm the biggest lamdan in the world. No. What? Angry? What's anger? I'm not into that. What? Kinna? I'm way past that. It may not be true, anything I just said now, but you're going to be saying that forever. That's your avodas Hashem for this door. You want to break your midas? That's the midah that our door has to break. Stop knocking yourself. There was a breast of a chassid here. His name is Laser Brody, a sweetie. He is the right-hand man of Arush. And he spoke here, he said, most of us, he speaks to the public, are guilty of self-persecution. I second that. What are you doing? What are you killing yourself for? How dare you? That's why I'm Maitzias Kulov. I want to be Maitzi the door with Gaiva. Zog the Alta von der Vade, somebody with a shovel has to go, Ktei HaGaiva. Extreme Gaiva. That's the only way to go. It should help us. Zecha de Gula Shalema, the Karim.